Hello, this is Dr. Renee Galloway, Chief Vision Organizer for Sweet Inspirations LLC, and welcome to Module 1 in the Get It Done Mastermind series, which is based in part on my inaugural book, Done, Prioritize, Plan, and Perform to Accomplish Your Goals. I firmly believe that everyone has a unique and distinct purpose, and while many may not pursue or explore their purpose, it doesn't negate the fact that they have one. Our purpose is typically aligned with our passion. It's just a natural inclination towards a particular vocation, career, or even hobby. The book Done begins with this excerpt. Have you noticed how some people move forward in life, achieving goal after goal, while others get stuck, spinning their wheels or making the same mistakes over and over? Is this you? Or maybe it's someone you know? Then this book is for you. It's a practical guide to prioritizing, planning, and then performing to accomplish your goals. In any case, I have frequently observed individuals whose lives are a constant whirlwind. While these individuals talk about being stressed and stretched, they don't have any idea of how to bring balance to their lives. They've become so used to the hectic, frantic pace of life, they now consider this pace normal, but would welcome change. As a result, this course was designed for you to make the changes that will make a difference in your life, propelling you along the road to personal and professional growth. These combined tools, tips, and resources in this course is a recipe for success, and the only missing ingredient is you. Now let's begin. Module 1 begins with increasing your personal productivity. Prioritizing in this case simply means setting priorities as a proactive, not reactive step to accomplishing your goals. Now, let's get this party started. There is no time like the present to get started on your path to achieving your dreams and goals. We may know what to do, but just haven't turned on our knowing into doing. Or in some cases, we may not even know where to begin. Either way, we're throwing a party in honor of you getting started on the road to prioritizing, planning, and performing to accomplish your goals by virtue of the fact that you are taking this course. Let's begin with make a personal appointment or a date with yourselves. Unless we set aside dedicated time to brainstorm, identify our priorities, they will remain in our hearts and heads unfulfilled. Early in my coaching career, I was amazed that many people haven't taken the time to identify their dreams, goals, hopes, values, or even passions. It's quite liberating and a wonderful experience since this step does not require a formal structure or strategies. Just let your thoughts flow. Beginning by write it down. Get a dedicated journal so that you can keep track. Your dreams go back as far as you can remember. Have a deep desire or let your dreams go back as far as you can to remember a deep dream or desire that is still relevant today. What are you hoping for? Write it down. Your desired outcomes, and it's okay. You need to hope and dream big. What's important to you? How do your goals relate to your values? What are you passionate about? This will be that thing when you think about it stirs up excitement and energy. It can even be as simple as the thing when you think about it brings a smile to your face. Just don't become burdened with this part of the course because remember, it is only the beginning. Well, let's get personal. Today is all about you. It's time for you to take some me time. You've probably said that you were going to, but just haven't gotten around to it. Society. I never really knew who society was. Maybe you do. but we often refer to it, and I will too, says that it's selfish to think about ourselves, even labeling people as sometimes even narcissistic. Well, change is inevitable. Your change may not look like mine, but it is still change. So why not prepare? Change oftentimes comes to move us from our comfortable zone, and without it, we could remain stuck in an unhappy and even sometimes unhealthy place in life. Nothing can happen without you. There are things that oftentimes God requires us to do, some things we need to do. We need help from others to do. There are even things that, guess what, we don't even need to do. No one can want something more for you than you want it for yourself. I always say, if it is to be, it's up to me. Make your productivity plan personal. Determine what works best for you, and then do it. On your notes, write, if it is to be, it's up to me. Remember, no one can be more serious about your goals and dreams than you are. A three-step process to achieving your goals. And we're going to begin with prioritize. I've identified, and it's been proven by myself and clients as well, to be successful. So again, let's get started. Priorities. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. By Stephen Covey. Most of us are familiar with author, speaker, and time management guru Stephen Covey. This quote simply says, set priorities first and then schedule time to work on them. An excellent book by Stephen Covey is First Things First, which brings priorities and time management together. We'll talk about time management shortly. Let's talk a little bit about what are big picture priorities, beginning with the 50,000-foot view. That's just looking at it from a wide angle versus a narrow view or perspective. Big picture priorities set direction for your life. If you fail to set aside time to establish direction and set big picture priorities, your dreams and goals will remain likely inside your head where they remain vague. So as we move along, we're going to take a closer look at our big picture priorities. Your big picture priorities should be deliberate. That's where you're conscientiously or intentionally, not randomly, setting those big picture priorities. Your directed priorities would be taking specific steps, going in a set path or direction. Then they should be purposeful. This speaks to your why for setting this priority. And last but not least, proactive versus reactive. I always like to say, don't wait until it rains to buy an umbrella. That just means we're being proactive by buying that umbrella in advance of the rain rather than waking up, seeing the rain coming down and realize we don't have an umbrella. So that's how we're going to begin looking at our big picture priorities. Let's continue talking about big picture priorities. What are your big picture priorities? Take a moment to ask yourself, what are your big picture priorities? Oftentimes, we are more in tune to the priorities of others than we are to our very own. I said earlier, this is all about you. So it's time for you to evaluate and identify your big picture priorities. No one can do this for you. Remember, this is your assignment. So what are your priorities? Health and wellness, family, personal or even professional development, your spiritual life, finances, retirement, or something else that you can identify that's not listed here. But remember, Think about, what are your priorities? I'd like to share with you a helpful resource, and it's called the Eisenhower Priority Decision Matrix. The Eisenhower Matrix, also referred to as the Urgent Important Matrix, helps you to decide on and prioritize tasks by urgency and importance, sorting out less urgent and important tasks which you should either delegate or not do at all. In a 1954 speech to the Second Assembly of the World Council of Churches, former United States President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was quoting Dr. J. Roscoe Miller, president of Northwestern University, said, "I have two kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgent are not important, and the important are never urgent." This Eisenhower principle is said to be how he organized his workload and priorities. The Eisenhower principle, as it was named, was made popular by Stephen Covey in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where you'll find the matrix that he further developed. Here's a snapshot of the matrix that we'll go into in more depth. Urgent versus important. Urgent means that a task requires immediate attention. These are the to-dos that shout now. Urgent tasks put us in a reactive mode, one marked by defensive, negative, hurried, and narrowly focused mindsets. Important. Important tasks are those that contribute to our long-term missions, values, and goals. Sometimes important tasks are also urgent, but typically they're not. When we focus on important activities, we operate in a responsive mode, which helps us to remain calm, rational, and open to new opportunities. Quadrant 1, urgent and important. Quadrant 1 tasks are both urgent and important. They are tasks that require our immediate attention and also work towards fulfilling our long-term goals and missions in life. Q1 tasks typically consist of crises, problems, or deadlines. With a bit of planning and organization, many Q1 tasks can be made more efficient or even eliminated outright. For example, instead of waiting till the last minute to work on a term paper, thus turning it into an urgent task, you could schedule your time so that you're done with your paper even a week in advance. Or instead of waiting for something in your house to fall apart and need fixing, you could follow a schedule of regular and routine maintenance. And now we have a few Q1 urgent and important examples. Certain emails could be a job offer, an email for a new business opportunity that requires immediate action, or you may be able to think of other examples of urgent and important emails that require your immediate attention. Term paper deadline, a tax deadline, family member in the ER or emergency room, car engine goes out, household chores. You get a call from your kid's principal saying you need to come in for a meeting about his or her behavior. These are all just a few examples of urgent and important tasks. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important. Quadrant 2 tasks are the activities that don't have a pressing deadline. Q2 tasks help you to achieve your important personal, school, and work goals. Quadrant 2, not urgent but important examples include self-care, car and home maintenance schedules, exercise routine, family time, spiritual growth, budget and savings plan, and as always, feel free to add to this list. According to Covey, we should seek to spend most of our time on Q2 activities, as they're the ones that provide us lasting happiness, fulfillment, and success. To say yes to important quadrant 2 priorities, you have to learn to say no to other activities, sometimes apparently urgent things. Quadrant 3, urgent and not important tasks. Quadrant 3 tasks are activities that require our attention now, urgent, but don't help us achieve our goals or fulfill our mission, not important. Most Q3 tasks are interruptions from others and often involve helping them meet their own goals and fulfill their own priorities. Quadrant 3, urgent and not important examples can include phone calls, text messages, most emails. Some emails, again, as we talked about earlier, could be urgent and important. Co-worker who comes by your desk during your prime working time to ask for a favor. Request from a former employee to write a letter of recommendation on his or her behalf. It's probably important to them, but let's face it, it's probably not that important to you. A friend drops in unannounced and wants your help with a chore. Again, these are just some examples. I've often seen where those who struggle in quadrant 3 are people pleasers. So sometimes, unfortunately, we have to say no sometimes, and that will help us to achieve and accomplish our goals. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important tasks. Quadrant 4 tasks aren't urgent and aren't important. They can be considered idle time activities. Q4 tasks aren't pressing, nor do they help you achieve long-term goals or fulfill your mission. They're oftentimes distractions. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important examples. Electronic devices, whether it's your cell phone, computer, iPad, etc. Scrolling through social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, scrolling through social media app notifications. If anyone has these notifications on your electronic device and you're pretty active, you could hear bing, 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 and those are definitely potential distractions. Idle internet surfing, TV binge watching. Again, these are just a few examples of the not urgent and not important category in quadrant 4 of the Eisenhower time management matrix. So let's look at some module 1 key takeaways. There's no time like the present to get started. Written goals have more significance than mental ones. It helps with accountability. Prioritize goals. Everything cannot carry the same weight in terms of priority. You will have to make a decision on your priorities. The Eisenhower priority matrix can help. Nope, it won't do it for you, but it certainly can make the prioritizing process more streamlined. You may want to purchase Stephen Covey's book, The Habits of Highly Effective People, for a more in-depth understanding of the Eisenhower priority matrix. So, what's next? Okay, we talked about priorities in module number 1. Simply put, defined as things that are important to you and an effective process that you can implement. How to identify them. Next, in Module 2, we will identify strategies to help you develop a solid plan. A goal, even with clear priorities, is a great start, but it's just not enough. Without a well-defined strategy or plan and steps for accomplishment, it's just a wish. Wishes are nice, but I don't personally have any proof that wishes actually come true. How about you? I venture to say you haven't either. Nothing tangible, at least. Either way, we're not going to wish our goals and dreams into existence, but we'll develop and follow a well-defined plan. Join me in Module 2 to begin your plan.